Stein, and I am the children's buyer here at the Boulder Bookstore, and this is the Boulder Bookstore YouTube video channel. Thanks for joining us today. I was going to talk about some of my favorite read out louds because I work in kids' books, and that's a lot of what we do is read out loud. The first one, some of these are pretty old, but the first one is The Book with No Pictures by B.J. Novak. When I was first presented this book, I thought it was really not very interesting, but then I actually heard someone reading it out loud on the floor to their 3 or 4-year-old, and the kid was cracking up. So fun and so funny. So I went back and pretended that I was reading it to a kid, and it is delightful. It is really funny. It starts with, let's see, The Book with No Pictures. Let's see. This is a book with no pictures, and there really are no pictures in it. So it goes on. It might seem like no fun to have someone read you a book with no pictures. So you don't have to do that because there are no pictures to show. But it does make the adults say a lot of really silly things, because the point is you have to read all the words that are in there. So there are words like blork and merk and I am a monkey and I am a monkey robot, and it just sort of goes on and on. So it's really fun, really funny, lovely read out loud. The next book I picked is Mina, and this is by Matthew Forsyth, and he wrote a really great book called Poco and the Drum that I also really like. It's just sort of really funny, and there are actually a lot of visual clues in the pictures itself, so this is actually a book with pictures that you actually get to spend some time looking at, because the art is lovely. Basically the story is Mina's dad keeps bringing home strange things for Mina, and she just really doesn't care about it, until one day he brings home what he calls a squirrel. And as everybody can see, it's not exactly a squirrel. So it kind of goes on from there, and eventually they do kind of discover that it's a cat. Oops, spoiler. Sorry. Oh. Anyway, it's really great. The pictures are lovely. I like the color palette. Really good for sitting on a lap and looking at it together, unlike this one that has no pictures. Another fabulous read out loud for the slightly older, this is more for kind of your early reader chapter book kind of thing, is Skunk and Badger. It's a little bit like The Odd Couple. Badger is very set in his ways, and he's a very important rock scientist, and he likes things done a certain way. And one day Skunk shows up to become his roommate, and Skunk brings a lot of lively activity to Badger's life, and Badger's not so sure about that. They do eventually work it out, and they end up having wonderful adventures together, and each one sort of learns to respect one another. Again, there are pictures in it. I like the color palette. John Clausen is the illustrator there. He did This Is Not My Hat. And I think that the chapters are short enough, so it makes a nice, sort of read a chapter a night bed book, or read more if you're really into it, because it's really pretty funny. A book series that I spent a huge amount of my kids' childhood having to read or getting to read is the Redwall series. It has been out for a long time, and there are a lot of them. There's epic battles, there's fighting, the good guys always win. All of the mice and badgers and rabbits and animals that live in this fortress, Redwall, the Redwall Fortress, are the good guys, and all the weasels and stoats, and sometimes cats, nobody really knows what's going on with the cats, they switch sides, are the bad guys. It's fun to read because it's got a lot of poetry in it and some singing, and there are lots of accents that you can do, because each rabbit speaks like a proper British gentleman, and all the badgers say oi, and there are things like that, so you can really dig into your accent catalog and really go for it. I will admit that after the 8th one of reading this out loud, it did get a little tedious, but the kids absolutely loved listening to it. So this was our evening after dinner, lay around on the couch and listen to Mom read a story. Redwall. We, after about 6 of those, discovered something called Libro FM. Is a online digital audiobook content platform. It's like Audible, but it's connected more to the independent bookstore world, so you can actually nominate us as your bookstore if you want. So these were really good, and so some of the ones that we listened to after we got tired of reading Redwall was A Tale Dark and Grimm by Adam Gidwitz. And if you don't want to do the audio, this is also really fun to read out loud, because I did read it out loud, but we did eventually download it, and the kids listened to it over and over and over and over again. It's really, really done in a very traditional fairy tale style, but the main characters are Hansel and Gretel. So they do the Hansel and Gretel story, but then they also do the other Grimm fairy tales, and that's all kind of tied all up together. It does get a little dark, as Grimm fairy tales kind of do, but it's really told in a great narrative, read out loud. It just begs to be read out loud, because it's like, listen, I have a story to tell you kind of feeling to it. Once upon a time, fairy tales were awesome, is the back blurb there. Really, really great. There are 2 other books, and I guess they made it into a Netflix series, but I haven't seen it, so if somebody has seen it, let me know if it's any good. Another book, a couple of books, these are for the older teens, like kind of upper middle grade to into teen, that we listened to. Actually, my husband and I just listened to it. We did a road trip, and we like to listen to audiobooks when we do a road trip. Is The Outlaws, Scarlett and Browne. The narrator on this is phenomenal. It's so fun, so exciting. It's like kind of non-stop action, and it's sort of hard to describe. It kind of takes place in at England in the future after some sort of cataclysmic event has happened, and there are zombies and beasts that have mutated, and Scarlett is an outlaw, so she robs banks, and she rescues this guy named Browne, who has a big secret, which they then discover, and they get chased all over England. And again, the narrator was spot on, really fun, great read. Another one that my husband and I also listened to, you may be wondering what happened to my kids. They're in college, so they don't get to go on these road trips with us anymore. Well, they do, but they haven't. Anyway, never mind. Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This has kind of a vaguely Germanic kind of feel to it, kind of a medieval German thing. But again, there are low gods and high gods and hijinks and things that are happening. It's not funny and fun like this one. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it's not fun. It is fun, but it's not funny. And it is dramatic, I guess would be the word. It's a little more serious, but again, the narrator is very good on it. She does an excellent job bringing forth the characters, so you know who's talking, and keeping the action going, and it's very smooth storytelling, and it was very, very well written and very good. We enjoyed it very much. So again, if you don't want to read out loud, there's Libro FM. If you do want to read out loud, these will also make excellent read out louds for yourself and for your kids. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you go out there and get some good books to read. Thanks. Bye.